Good afternoon, everyone. The Sacramento City Council will please come to order. Would Ms. Cuppy, the clerk, please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Thank you. Councilmember Ashby, Councilmember Warren, here. Councilmember Harris, here. Vice Mayor Hansen,
present.
Councilmember Carr, Councilmember Jennings, here. Councilmember Guerra, Councilmember Chenier, here. And I do expect Councilmember Guerra and Councilmember Ashby momentarily, and then Mayor Steinberg.
We're here, yes. We have Councilmembers Guerra and Ashby are here. I know we'll be here momentarily. Good evening and welcome to the members of the public. I would like to begin by asking the Girl Scouts of Land Park, the service unit, leader Sylvia Marwick, to please come with the Girl Scouts to the podium and please lead the City Council and the audience in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very, very much. So I noticed cookies. Wow. Look at this.
Do we need to get more? Grab some more
Well,
over here. Guys, there's more over here. Does everybody have one?
Councilmember Hansen, I know these are your fine constituents. Do you want to?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Obviously, District 4 wins the prize for best presentation ever because I don't think we've ever seen anything as welcome as a Girl Scout cookie after a long day.
Does anybody have cookies? Everybody get a cookie.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you for the Land Park Troop for coming out tonight. And Sylvia, thank you for bringing them. But I think this is really a way to get us engaged in what is their next big thing, which happens every year.
In January through March, it's Girl Scout cookie season.
Woohoo.
And we wanted to point out the fact that Girl Scouts are the premier girls organization. We build girls that are of character, confidence, and courage that make the world a better place. And we encourage you to buy Girl Scout cookies. You know, that supports our programs and all the things we do for girls. So thank you for letting us be here. We really appreciate it. We just encourage you to be here. And Steve Henson, we are just so proud to be part of Land Park.
Thank you.
And I just want to point out that in all of...
Buy your first 2 boxes earlier today with
Yeah,
the available
he did.
cash on hand?
He did.
Okay.
I just also want to point out that the Girl Scout Heart of Central California, which is our council, geographically goes from Placer to Modesto out to Yolo. Of all of that area, Land Park Service Unit has the highest number of girls in it. We have 800 girls and 82 troops.
So 2 things. One is tell us where we will be able to buy Land Park Girl Scout cookies.
Okay. If you go to the Girl Scout Heart of Central California website and say, where can I find cookies? They will tell you all the places and what
Awesome.
times.
And then the second thing is really a message to the girls, which is that one day I hope to see one of you or more than one of you sitting up here where we are, because that's the power of getting engaged in your community early. And you're giving back and you're showing us and many other people how to be part of a great community. So thank you for being here and for being a Girl Scout.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. For a terrific start to the meeting. I do have a number of members up on the queue here on this item. Well then, okay. Don't leave.
Be efficient, yeah.
Councilmember Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say thank you to
There you go.
yes, ma'am, to Vice Mayor Hansen for inviting the Land Park Girl Scouts. And it's really an additional pleasure for me because I have a great niece that's in the audience as one of the Nevaeh. And so
Without how you're trying to get your hair?
I was, but you see, I gave up on it, though.
We talked about that hair for 2 months.
I know, but I had already beat Jay and Matt, so I'm good, you know? So, but I just want to say it was a pleasure to see you young ladies, and thank you to the parents and the Girl Scouts leader for bringing them out, and you guys keep doing the good work you're doing. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Nevaeh.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Emeritus Jennings.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Sorry.
This is the time for Girl Scouts to sell cookies, and we know that you'll be out there doing that, and I know that you'll have lots of willing buyers that'll be out there to accept the cookies and make sure that it helps all the causes that you work for. And this is a great time in your lives to be able to go and talk to people and get to communicate with them and get to know them and tell them about all the great things that Girl Scouts do. So on behalf of Councilmember Carr and myself, we're going to buy all the cookies that you have donated up here today. This will be the first sale, so we're going to, here you go. We're going to buy all those cookies, and this will be the first sale that you have made in achieving your goal, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jennings. It's very generous of you. Councilmember Ashby.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing us cookies. This is the time of year, you know, Natomas is completely under siege for Girl Scout cookies. You cannot walk outside your door without coming back with Girl Scout cookies. So I call it the time of year that all of my New Year's resolutions are ruined, right? But you know, who can resist peanut butter patties? That's just not a thing, right? So I'm sure if you guys have extra boxes, you might be able to make some money in the crowd here. And I just want to tell you that I'm really proud of you because I know what the Girl Scouts do, and it's a whole heck of a lot more than selling delicious cookies. You guys are out in your community, you're leaders in your schools and your classes, you're doing things in parks, you're helping out in big ways, and it does lead to something much bigger in life. And I'm sure there are times that you wonder to yourself, what is this for? But in the end, I promise you, you are moving yourself towards a good goal. And I will just leave you with this, right? I'm up here, and I'm the only female up here. But each of you, at the age that you are at now, is closer to this goal than I was at your age. Because I didn't have the leadership skills that you have. I didn't have those opportunities, and I wasn't engaged as much as you are. So you are closer to being here than I was when I was your age. All right, so no excuses. Keep marching forward, do the best you can, and then get up here and lead our city. All right? Thanks, ladies.
Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, you know, caramel delights are the best, but have any of you been to the STEM Center on Elvis Avenue? And the Makerspace? I just wanted to put a plug in for that because it's an amazing place for young women to understand the science aspect and the opportunities and those kinds of jobs. So I'm really happy to see that there were nods because it's a wonderful place, and I hope the Girl Scouts all over the North State make use of that facility because it's an awful lot of fun. Thanks for your participation, and thanks for the cookies.
Really, you made a lot of people very happy tonight. You know? Okay. No, you go. You go. Okay, I know that we're waiting on items 1 and 2 in terms of Pastor Sadler arriving tonight. So why don't we take the public comments on items not on the agenda? Is that okay, or did you want to?
Oh, yeah. We also have folks from province.
Well, why don't you go then first? Councilmember Guerra, without objection.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And while we're waiting for our guests to arrive, I'll ask the members of CAFE and the UC Davis alumni. Here, a clear example that as a proud Sac State Hornet, I also support our UC Davis Aggies. Who have a short presentation about an annual youth conference that started here, but now is taking on a life of its own in entire Northern California. And with
I
this,
have a
Carolina
giant
Tobias.
Aggie alumni pin for you. Mayor, council members, I'm Caroline Cabillas, and I'm co-chair of the 18th Annual Cesar Chavez Youth Leadership Conference, which will be held on March the 10th in partnership with and at the UC Davis campus. With me is Tari Aguilera, my conference co-chair. We're here tonight to ask for your support for this conference, which is open to all middle school, high school, and community college transfers at no cost to them. The primary purpose of the conference is to have experts provide information on UC and CSU admission requirements and financial aid, and transfer requirements for community college students. We host a college resource fair, and our career workshops are STEM-focused, but also feature health, legal, and other career workshops. So why are we here asking for your support? Students of color in particular must have admissions and financial aid information in order to have equal access to higher education. At a recent community meeting, I met a senior at McClatchy High School with a 4.0 GPA taking AP classes. I asked him logically, are you going to UC Davis? He said no, he couldn't afford it. Toddy took him to UC Davis. He completed all of the required paperwork, and he just received notification of a $20,000 grant starting this fall. That's why this conference is needed. In 2014, we had 800 students. In 2017, 2,000 students. This significant increase reflects the huge unmet need at our schools. Every dollar we receive lets us reach out to more underserved students. There are 5,200 UCD Latino alumni in the Sacramento region. They're educated and employed in the public and private sectors. They buy homes and spend money in your districts. Their economic well-being raises up our communities and has major long-term benefits for the region. That's why we need your support for this conference. I ask that you partner with us and support the conference both financially and with your attendance. I do want to thank Mayor Steinberg and Councilmember Guerra for being our keynote speakers last year. This year's keynote speaker is Superior Court Judge Emily Vasquez. Are there any questions I can answer? Otherwise, I'm looking for your totally committed support.
All I can say is it was a great conference last year. I mean, the energy was unbelievable, the crowd was unbelievable, and it's really worth attending.
That's why we're asking for both your financial as well as your personal physical support at the conference.
Okay.
So, any questions?
Vice Mayor, I can't stop saying that. Councilmember Jennings.
So I don't have any questions because I had the opportunity to sit down with you and Toddy and really talk about all the great things that are going to happen at the conference, and we're excited to be able to support you. And I think I hear exactly what your request is. You want each one of the council members to go to their middle schools and go to their high schools to make sure that we bring students to that. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And you also want to make sure that financially, whatever we have in our budgets, that we can help to keep this conference going on this year and for years to come. You want to make sure that we do that and also bring additional financial resources to help us keep this conference going. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We need to start doing a strategic plan here, not just for tomorrow, not for last year, but we really need to look at these unmet needs at the school and figure out how, through the council, the city connects with our education systems. And you're all role models in your districts for your schools, and to see you out there touting this conference for the reasons that we're promoting it is a huge statement to our communities.
That's correct. So I just want to thank both of you for your leadership, because this is so important, and we want to make sure that students do get to this, because many times for the conference, this is the first time students have stepped foot on an academic institution of higher education. And so for them, they will make a decision after going to a conference like this that they will pursue higher education. They will make sure that their kids do so as well. So this is a starting point for many of these students, and I want to make sure that we support you in every effort to have the ultimate success.
Thank you very much.
You let my office know what we can do to support this year's effort, please.
Absolutely.
Caroline. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, let's do public comment for items not on the agenda. Yeah, well, I know, but we still have a wait. Closed session report out first. Mr. Ruyak, anything?
We have nothing to report.
Thank you. I have 11 speakers for matters not on the agenda. The first is Jeffrey Wiley, then Carolyn Cabayas, Robert Copland, Jeffrey?
Then Caroline just spoke.
I'll speak again and ask for your support.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Jeff Wiley. I'm a member of the Rental Housing Association, Sacramento Valley, and currently own 3 duplexes in the Central City core. I rise before you tonight to bring to your attention an issue that I believe, if addressed, could help alleviate some of the housing shortage problems in our city and will hopefully encourage some development in the Central City core as well. As most of you are aware, the vast majority of residential lots in Midtown are 40 feet wide by either 160 feet deep, which runs through the alley, or half that length, 80 feet deep. I own a duplex at 25th and N, District 4, which is slightly narrower, 30 feet, but it's an alley deep lot, so it's 160 feet deep. This narrower lot and similar lots are why I'm addressing you tonight. Under current zoning regulations, my lot, which is zoned R3A, is exactly 4,800 square feet, but that's only zoned for 3.96 units, 3.96. R3A zoning allows for 36 units per acre for 1 unit, which equals 1 unit for every 1,210 square feet. This zoning leaves my 4,800 square foot lot 40 square feet short of meeting the 4,840 square foot requirement for 4 units. When I checked with the city planning department about this, I was told there was no rounding up. So my lot, which equals 3.96 units, can only have 3 units and not 4. Let me put this in perspective. My lot's only 3, if it was only 3 inches wider, 3 inches, I would be available to build a 4th unit. All that separates mine and other owners of 30 by 160 square foot lots from qualifying for a 4th unit, 3 inches. 3 inches to me does not pass the common sense test, especially when all this body can talk about is the need for more housing and infill development. To put this another way, to highlight how this doesn't pass the common sense test, is that I could build a 2-story, 2,000 square foot single family residence on the back of my lot, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, but because of the stringent zoning requirement, if I built the exact same building, same footprint, same square feet, same amount of people living there, but I included the second kitchen and a second front door, making it 2 units, not 1.
Need you to wrap up if you would.
Okay.
We have 2 minutes. It's a 2
Okay,
minute.
sorry. So I just ask that this body please consider my request to either draft a regulation which would allow the rounding up of 0.05 units or 500ths of a housing unit when calculating zoning allowances, or to increase the allowable units for R3A zone to 37 units per acre instead of 36.
I don't know whether, does that take a zoning change, or is it? Councilmember Hanson, go. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for coming. We've already been working with staff on this. Ryan DeVore, our Community Development Director, and Tom Pace, our Planning Director, are in the back.
Okay.
Do you mind going to speak with them about it? We're
Absolutely.
not allowed to
No problem.
really say more than that. So.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much for coming tonight. Next, please.
Robert Copland is our next speaker, then Ron Elmsley. Mr. Copland? Calling Mr. Copland is Ron Elmsley, and then Pastor Gainsborough.
Well, first of all, I wish the city clerk would get my name right. It's Copeland, not Copland.
Okay, well, you know what? You just don't have to be harsh about it. We're all doing our best up here, sir. Thank you.
Mayor Steinberg, why are you interrupting? I'm going to grade the city council. You get an F. You hear me? An F. You have not done enough for the homeless population. You have not done enough for affordable housing. We got a terrible RT bus system, 7 the city council members on the RT board. When are we going to improve the RT bus system? And when are you going to get some jobs in Sacramento? What are you going to do about the police problem we have in Sacramento? That gets an F too. The only thing that I would give a decent grade is emergency service, like the police, fire department, and the ambulance. They got a C. Reason why? City council has not put enough money in that. And as part of our public decorum here, why don't you show some decorum to us? If you want respect, you have to give respect. And you're not giving respect. Mayor Steinberg always interrupts people, throws them out for the flimsiest excuses. This city council is a joke. You hear me? A total freaking joke. I think all of you should be replaced. And I caught one of the city council members writing things down and flipping a page more than once. I think that's wrong. Why you sign a signature and write and flipping a page doing the same thing? You should listen to the public. Maybe we got some good ideas. And when are we going to get some more affordable housing in Sacramento? When are you going to deal adequately with the homeless population? You're not doing hardly anything. I heard Mayor Steinberg as 1,000 tiny houses. That's a drop in the proverbial bucket. Sacramento Housing Alliance says we need 62,000 affordable housing units. And how much is the rent going to pay? When are they going to start building these tiny houses?
Thank you, Robert.
This is a joke, City Council.
Okay, Robert.
My next speaker is Ron Elmsley, then Pastor Gainsborough, then Victor Edenberg. Ron Elmsley.
On the news quite often they show images of the United Nations tents for refugees. We have a lot of refugees. They're not political refugees, they're economic refugees. And it would be nice if you followed what the United Nations does and set up some tents, because these people are out in the cold. It would be nice if you tried just one night to endure what they're doing. I think that you would have a different outlook. Anyway, I'm asking for your support. We have quite a few murders in Oak Park. It used to be that the murders only happened in the summertime. That was the shooting season. And now it seems like I don't know if it's global warming or what, but they're going constantly year-round. And I was hoping that you would find somebody to have a strategic plan to take care of the backlogs. They never seem to be solving them. The police come back and tell us that, well, no one talks in Oak Park, so therefore we can't do anything. Well, really, they could have a better line than this. It would raise up the community if they started to solve the murders. Apparently, you gave $1.5 million to send people to school so they wouldn't commit murders. There was about 60 that they said would be the core. Now, if you start arresting these murderers, they can't reoffend. They'll be behind bars. So I really ask for your support on this, and I'm open for putting up a reward if the city would like to loosen up lips or anything. But nothing's getting done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elmsley.
My next speaker is Pastor Gainsborough, then Victor Edenberg.
Excellent speech on Thursday at the State of the City. And you are doing a lot. You are moving some mountains. You didn't create the crisis, but you're helping to solve it. I have three things I wanted to talk about tonight. One is the annual homeless death toll of 100, which means from the last time I spoke here last week to tonight, 2 more homeless died. We don't know their names, but they're somebody's child, grandchild, son or daughter. And so my first goal is let's quantitatively target to cut that death of the homeless at the memorial announcement every December, which let's cut that in half to 50. Let's make a quantitative goal of that. Let's find out where the deaths occur. And part of them are the homeless that are out after city council out in the cold and the rain. So part of issue number 1 is to open the emergency weather shelters once again at Southside Park, besides the triage shelter, which is wonderful. My second point is in a triage shelter, there are really 2 types of triage folk. There's triage 1 is folk that just want shelter to survive the night. But triage 2, I'm going to define as those who are ready to move on the continuum of care, to get their ID, their Social Security, to go to the medical services and be ready to move into affordable housing. And then my third point, beyond differentiating triage 1 and triage 2, which could be at the same shelter, my third point is the ratio of resource or referral navigators. With Steps Forward, when they started 2 years ago, the ratio was 150 or 200 clients are homeless to one navigator. They've knocked it down now to one referral agent. Now, at the triage center, as I'm tying up here, what I'm told is, even though there's a gag order on, they wouldn't give me specific numbers. They told me that there's 4 resource navigators there for 200 people, which is a ratio of 1 to 50. You and I and all the council know that the Navigation Center in San Francisco is finding success with a ratio of 1 to 10. So if we can drop it in the next 5 weeks before the first trial triage center closes from 1 to 50, let's put some more help in there to drop it to 1 to 25, 1 to 20, or 1 to 15.
We are going to try. Thank you, Pastor.
And if we can stack the odds towards success, that'll be great toward future triage centers.
Thank you so much, Pastor.
Next speaker is Victor Edenberg, and then Mary Tapple.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Victor Edenberg, 679 Capella Way, Sacramento. I'm here tonight to represent Black Lives Matter and their proclamation to involve themselves with the training program of the police department. Historically, the rule of law must be a part of that training. The rule of law usually means that no one can claim to be above the law developed by a society. Nervous. This fact goes back to Babylonian days, BC, where Harambe gave equal or fair rights to a defender or presenter. Then came the Magna Carta of 1215 of England that stated that everyone is under established law and the right to justice. Then in the Constitution of the United States in 1791 and up to this moment, under the 5th and 14th Amendment, it is stated that the due process is given to all who protect individual liberties, freedom of speech, press, religion, and protection against cruel and unusual punishment. Mayor, many years ago in Sacramento, some policemen were wearing a Thunderbolt emblem on their uniforms. The mayor at that time, Mr. Cerna, and council ordered those emblems to be removed, and they were. I knew you during this time because I worked in a program to assist children in an after-school program that you and the mayor were sponsoring. We need you and the council, Mayor, to order all police training with the assistance of Black Lives Matter to demand and incorporate more emphasis on the rule of law and due process in the police department training. An association of police officers shouldn't be in charge of the facilitation of training ordered as a result of police violence on our community. Any action the city makes uses our tax dollars toward accountability and transparency and should be strictly monitored by the community it serves. As a voting member of the Sacramento community, we have demands, and I think you know what they are. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is Mary Tapple, and then Trina Allen. Mary?
Yes, Mary, welcome.
Hi. First of all, thank you, Mayor Steinberg, for your request for 1,000 mini tiny homes for the homeless. And I note that it's essentially chiming in with Jeff Harris of some months ago, or maybe 2 years ago now. I can't keep track. But also there was an earlier Sacramento Loaves and Fishes campaign for 1,000 cottages that gave birth to the 60 or 70, I've lost track of the number of units, at North A Street, now the Bishop Quinn cottages. And that was supposed to be followed up by a campaign for the next set of at least 60 or 70 to be built and located. And apparently that hasn't happened since then, at least not in my memory. But so it goes back quite a number of years. And everybody's heard that thing about we always get back to the beginning or an earlier proposal. So I want to note that and thank everybody involved for those suggestions for tiny homes for the homeless. I do want them to be in Sacramento, but affordable, which may be less fancy than Quinn Cottages, of course. Now, follow up on the Dr. King Day March. I'm still, and his dream, that more people would be, in my interpretation, acting as if they are already living in the beloved community that he said, and was what we needed. And along that line, I felt I was making more progress recently and towards a planetary ethic, simply adding a few extra words to Mahatma Gandhi's "Live simply so others may simply live." I have put in a few more explanatory ones, and I've done this also in a copy to you. Live more simply for those of us here in this society, so that others may live more peacefully and fulfilling lives.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much for coming. Next.
Next speaker is Trina Allen and then Michael Voy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
My name is Trina Allen, and I'm a Sacramento resident. I'm here today to stand with Black Lives Matter Sacramento to demand complete oversight of our police department, including its trainings. An association of police officers shouldn't be in charge of the facilitations of trainings ordered as a result of police violence on our community. Any actions the city makes that uses our tax dollars towards accountability and transparency should be strictly monitored by the community that it serves. As a voting member of the Sacramento community, here are my demands. Sacramento Police Commission should be empowered to approve the process and confirm the completion of each training. Training needs to be conducted on site with the exception of field trips and facilitated by experts in the field of training curriculum. Training should conclude with a test of understanding, and trainings need to be overseen and monitored by the community members that have experiences relevant to the training. And side note, I would have super appreciated if you could figure out a way to create a small child care center, maybe repurpose one of these rooms where we could hear what was going on and participate in the rest of the meeting. I cannot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My next speaker is Michael Voy and then Eric Frame. Mr. Voy.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I need to thank you for help with my registration. It was a great speech and a great morning Thursday, State of the City. And I feel bad that more people here tonight weren't there.
You can see it on YouTube.
To hear those things. Well, good.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether I've made my case yet for the public restrooms. I haven't heard that I have, but I haven't heard everything that you've proposed, and there's still the revolving fund and what it will be used for. There's still some announcements to come. So temporarily, I'm going to abate the continuance of making my case. But I have a lot of points that I can make and a lot of analogies that I can draw. And so I can return to that. So I'm waiting to see if I've actually, what the response is to the case that I've made thus far. And the reason why I say that is because there were a lot of people at the meeting Thursday that are the sources of funds that it will take. They were responsible, would be helping with the things that everyone's asking for. And so we have to give those people a chance, and we have to give the mayor a chance to deal with that. But we can come back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Next speaker is Eric Frame and then Fong Lee.
Hello again. Excuse me, I'm not interrupting you. I'm just gonna ask you from the beginning. We don't allow any candidate for office, including incumbent candidates, to display any political materials in a public setting. And so I know you've got your campaign brochure there. I'd appreciate if you would remove it from there, because that's the rule applied again to everybody, including incumbents. Thank you, sir.
Gladly.
Thank you.
Okay. I was at the Women's March the other day. A couple things I noticed. First thing I noticed was human feces on the sidewalk the second I got out of the car. The other thing I noticed over the course of the day is about 50 or so porta potties put up for the Women's March. I just kept wishing to myself and talking to and telling people on the street that I wish we could just keep those porta potties up and disperse them amongst the community so that we didn't have human urine on the sidewalk or anywhere else for that matter. I also heard from a woman that I spoke to that Mr. Steinberg's interested in tiny homes. which is great. We've been talking about that for years. So I just heard 1,000 of them. That sounds great. I'm that type that I want to see action. You know, words are kind of cheap to me at the moment. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these homes built as soon as possible and in a way of high quality. Let's not just beat around the bush and make them not high quality as well. So I know there's vacant lots in each and every district in this city, so let's also build tiny homes in each and every district. Make it a citywide event, if you will. As we heard from Pastor Gainsborough, we have 2 people dying on your streets each week. So I recommend we just call a state of emergency already. And we can utilize some of the empty buildings. One in particular would be Arco Arena, which is already set up with bathrooms and showers, and it's been collecting dust for all I know, for all we know. So let's do that and save some lives of your citizens. Finally, we are still a hub of child trafficking, according to the FBI.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next speaker. Our next speaker is Fong Lee, and then Lorraine Brown.
Good evening. I'm going to try a different approach. I've been told that I was too angry and I yell a lot, and so I'm going to be. I'll talk quietly, but dear sirs and madam of the City Council, the truth will set you free. The people you love so much are dying. The truth is neither good or bad. The truth needs no audience and needs no permission or approval, or it needs no validation or cheerleaders. When the truth is spoken, it cannot be denied. It is not dressed up. It is not tokenized. It is unruly, sometimes impolite. The truth about the women and men who died recently from being outside. They are not nameless. They have families and friends. Vinny, John, Mary, and Denise. Denise was the most recent one. All died on Sacramento streets. We want the truth, the ugly, the smelly, the toothless truth. We want people as a priority. We want bathrooms, drinking fountains, and self-determined shelters. Don't treat people like second-class citizens, deserving throwaways and leftovers. You ask for patience, you ask for time. Still more people die with little help in sight. Still making plans for another stadium, another building standing empty, while they quietly died on the same grounds. They died without a sound. Your fan base of business owners want nothing of the truth. They are complicit in your lies, applauding your speeches stolen from our mouths. Do you really love the homeless, sir? Dead or alive? Every week we ask for help. If someone is drowning and needs a helping hand, would they not yell from desperation?
Wrap it up, please.
Or would you ask them to be polite and quiet and wait for your beautiful speeches at vigils and parades? We wait, we pray.
I'm going to ask you one more time to please wrap it up. Your
Almost
2 minutes
done.
is up.
Yeah, what? Another year, another day. And it's already much too late.
And our last speaker is Lorraine Brown.
Yeah, I'm Lorraine Brown. I'm a psychologist over 30 years. And what's going on is very disturbing to everyone. It's on a national level. I'm really concerned that redevelopment in prison industries and community rehab and corrections is now being operated by organized crime thugs that never should have been given amnesty or expungement. Felons, we have laws against felons forming gangs and forming organized crime associations. And right now it's come to my attention that a lot of violent drug dealing offenders got amnesty, got expungement, and now are working in government, working in our hospitals. I'm really concerned that Redevelopment and Hospital Corporation of America is now being operated by NATO, which is getting off scot-free, no tax, no tariff, no regulations, and demanding a lot of muni bonds, which is tax-free bonds, putting us in debt. This is a crisis. We have laws against this. I want our USA laws enforced. People like myself who are vetted, who had an exemplary record, are being terrorized by redevelopment gangsters that are standing out on the corners making sure that none of us can conduct our business. I can't even walk in my apartment without being attacked. I would like to show someone every day every day I'm assaulted when I go in my kitchen, when I'm sleeping in my bed.
Oh, Ms. Brown.
He's laughing because Jay Chenier, you, in
Nobody's
2010,
laughing. No, ma'am, is there anything we can, no, I'm so sorry.
So this tells
Nobody's
you
laughing.
we have a big problem here. We
Nobody's
cannot allow criminals to run our government.
Okay, Ms. Brown, thank you. Is
Okay.
there anything we can do tonight to
It's on a
help you?
national level.
Okay,
I'd like to talk to someone that cares about our laws.
okay, thank you,
Is
ma'am.
there anyone here that cares about USA laws?
You do. Thank you. Your time is up, ma'am, and I
No,
hope.
I know, but
you
I would
feel-
like you to tell me
Okay.
whom I can talk to that's going to represent USA, not UN.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have no more speakers for matters not on the agenda.
Okay. We do have two presentations here on the agenda, 1 and 2, and they're both Councilmember Chenier. I'm going to turn the mic over to him.
Thanks very much, Mayor, and thanks for your flexibility on the schedule. We actually have two presentations that we'd like to do, or I'd like to do, and I'm going to do them together because I think there's a lot of interaction between the two. So I'm going to ask the folks from Youth Explosion and the folks from Shiloh Baptist Church to come forward and come up to the podium. If you can, I think the timing is perfect. We have a number of people from Shiloh who just arrived here. So follow your pastor. That's great. So I want to say a couple words, and before I start, I first want to congratulate Pastor Sadler and his wife Maria on the coming movie featuring their son Anthony. It is called the 1517 to Paris. I was fortunate and lucky enough to see a preview of it Saturday night, and they have a budding actor as their son, and this is a movie Clint Eastwood did. It's coming out February 9th, I believe, nationwide, and so I hope everyone can see it. We have, 5 awards, hopefully, for Lady Bird, and we hope that 1517 to Paris gets the same recognition. It's a great movie, and it's really very impactful. And I will tell you, as I was leaving the movie, my wife and I were talking about what people are prepared to do for their communities and for their friends and neighbors. And what we have before you is two groups that did some wonderful things, and we're going to start showing just some pictures from the holidays, if we can get that rolling. I know it's up there someplace. But these are, and I had the occasion to help serve lunch with Shiloh Baptist Church and visit and hand out some toys and clothing with Youth Explosion. They were both working at the Oak Park Community Center. But these are two institutions and organizations that don't just do it on the holidays. They do it year-round, and it's part of who they are and what they do. And this is not unique. I know all of us have organizations in our district that do this and really come to the community, but I think we every so often have to really celebrate what folks do and let them know it's recognized. I don't think anyone standing before me here is doing it to be recognized, but I think that we owe it to you and to our community to say, thank you. This is really great work that you do. So what I'd like to do, we have resolutions for both of you, but I want to give first Mark, if I can, just a minute to talk about Youth Explosion and what you do at the community center and the number of young people that you serve and what you did over the holidays.
Well, thank you very much, all of the council members. Appreciate all of the hard work you do. It's kind of humbling back there hearing all of the experiences that are going on in the community. And I forced myself to ask, and I forced my team to ask, and anyone that's a part of it, Okay, then what? What are we going to do? So YXP has designed itself to be a hub. As you see the signs, YXP supports. And as we hear these agendas going on today, we'd like to see how can we help and bridge the gap of the things that are going on in the community. You know, if we're not part of the solution, we're definitely not part of the problem, but the problem. And that's what we all have to adopt, that mentality to move forward, and I'm sure you can all attest to that. Speaking with regards to the Oak Park Community Center, what we call Ground Zero, in a statewide effort that we're pushing forth, it's going to become a training center for our community engagement action, or program, that is. And it is a hub of activities, to make a long story short, conducted by leaders. Everyone is a leader. Participants that come on board, they're leaders. And we do have a setup to where we'd like to be in every community, not just one. So just specifically for the holidays, how can I say, we brought the house down, right? Yes. All right, we had toys, we had gifts, we had not just for the kids, but we can't really help the kids if we don't help the entire family. So adopting that, and generous donors, we have more stuff than we know what to do with. It's fun watching kids carrying toys out, dropping them in the street, you know. You know, we encourage people, you're going to get too much when you come to this program. Pay it forward. You know someone that doesn't have something. Share it with them. Watch how the universe gives back to you. It's all biblical, it's all scripture. We're just bringing it to action. Our program, I'm not going to say mine, our program is making the difference in the community because we're stepping in, being accountable for everything that we see, everything that's going on. So that's what I just want to say. I want to say thank you, Councilmember Chenier, for coming out, you know, enjoying it, hanging out with our team, hanging out with Santa Claus, you know, it worked out. And just want to say in the last year or so, we served well over 100,000. We don't just have a weekend program, we're working on consistency. Every first, second, third Saturday, and fourth Saturday, Del Paso Heights. Del Paso Heights has been a bit elusive, but we're going to get that. We have a great director who helped us at the Oak Park Center. She's now running the program at Hagenwood, and we're going to be doing something there on Friday evenings. But again, training happens in Oak Park. It's been the home. The community is great. We're looking to expand and make a difference. I can use all the help I can get. Doesn't have to be monetary, it can be support, whatever it is. I'm not afraid to ask for the families who are in need. And hearing some of the stories that I've heard here today, utilize me. If there's something I can do to help what's going on here, I have a willing and able team that can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So as I got to say, I probably spend more time with Pastor Sadler. I'm going to get to the pastor now if I can. And I spend more time with Pastor Sadler than I do with my own rabbi. And, you know, and he is, well, first of all, Shiloh has been in the community 161 years. So long-standing church in the community and has done great things. And Pastor Sadler has worked with cops and clergy. He is out there every Friday night as we do the peace walks through Oak Park. I know this Saturday he's working with Chief Hahn and 26 of the new recruits and maybe some other folks from the academy. I think you have 60 houses that you're going to be working on?
Oh, even more now. We've expanded that program and moved from the landscaping that we originally were going to tackle to actually doing some painting. We found out in a survey of Oak Park that about 25 to 35% of the houses have white doors, and half of those, or white trim, and half of those need some attention. So Sacramento Police Department outreach team has secured some in-kind donations of flat white paint. So we're going to go out there and we're going to not only work in the yard, but we're going to paint some people's doors and improve their housing as far as the view of their housing looks.
So I think for the pastor and the mayor and I were at services on Sunday morning. Did a great job. It was a great sermon. Great music. Please say thank you to the choir.
Absolutely.
Ask them to come over to B'nai Israel
one
here.
Night. Choir.
We're happy to have them. You guys did great. But, you know, again, I think it's so important. This isn't just about Sundays, and it's not just about sermons. I mean, the pastor is out there knocking on doors. I think I make about 7 or 8 out of 10 of the Friday nights. It really means a lot to the neighborhood to see you out there, to see your congregants out there, to see all of us just walking the streets of Oak Park saying, you know, we're here every Friday night. And again, all of this is about saying thank you. You know, the old adage of it takes a village to raise a child really takes a village to raise a village. And I think what we're looking at here is a village. So really, from the bottom of my heart and representing the mayor and the council, I just want to say you so represent what Sacramento is about, and it's about heart. And it's really about getting it done and standing up for one another. And when we need people to step forward, you all have stepped forward. So again, thank you so much. I don't know if you want to say, I know you're a pastor and you got a microphone, so I don't want to get in front of you.
I don't see the clock running. So let me just say, we are humbled and thankful to be here, to Mayor Steinberg, City Manager Chan, to our council member Shanier, and to this entire council. We are honored to be recognized. We don't do it for that. We believe we're storing up treasures in heaven, and we believe that Sacramento is a great place to live, and whatever we can do to make it even a greater place, we want to make an effort to do. I want to say that although all of those things we have done have been wonderful, we know we don't have the answer to it all. It's a collaborative effort, even in many of the efforts we take on. It's collaborative effort with the city, with SAC PD, with the community, with other agencies and nonprofits. We are just single-minded in believing that if everyone does their part, do something. Just do something. If everyone does their part, that collectively we can have a significant impact on Sacramento. We're already a wonderful city, but we're not a perfect city. But if we can work together, I haven't been here for the public discord in some while. It is troubling and it touches my heart, but it is all right. But I would hope it would get past the public discord and get into action, not implying that anyone that's spoken has not taken action, but it just requires that all of us doing our best. All of us doing our best to make an impact on this city in such a way that where the less fortunate are helped and those that are struggling feel that somebody cares. So that's what we try to do on a regular basis. I'm the proud pastor of Shiloh Baptist Church. Raise your hand, Shiloh. And it's my honor to serve with them as we engage the community in the various ways. So thank you.
So two more things real quick. One, we can't have Shiloh Baptist Church here without recognizing Sam Jackson, our former city attorney. Best dressed man in the house. Sam, raise your hand, say hello. And then what I'd like to do, I do have resolutions for you. If we could get all of you to come down right here. Let's take a picture with the council behind. That would be great.
Are the roads?
No words, no preparation. Go get the picture. Pass will get the picture. Go get the picture, Jack.
Wait till I...
Put my phone away. Yes, but my cameraman railed me. My short staff over here. Okay.
Couple things. We're going to do one picture with the signs down. Okay, one picture with a bunch of pictures with the signs down, and then we're going to all raise our hands so that way we're blocking everyone's faces. All right? Okay, and then, so look this way. And we're going to let this lady up front take her pictures because she's doing a panorama.
That's right.
You're going to need a couple more pages, I think.
You're right.
All right.
Now you want to get in it? Want me to take it?
Yeah. We'll do that. I'm going to take a ton of pictures. All right, I'm going to do count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now with the YXP signs. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. There's about 1 million pictures, so thank you very much.
Just feel like turn around.
Going now, right? Yeah.
Here you go, sir. I took a few, but we'll be sending them out to you guys too. Thank you. Okay, where did Mark? Mark.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, right here. You can take a picture.
I'll go around. How you doing, sir?
Hey, lady.
I'll leave it there for a moment.
I have it.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We're going to get on with the city's business as soon as we have a chance.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Pastor Sadler. All right. What is that? No, sorry. I would take the water. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you're here for the presentation or leaving, we're going to continue with the city's business. All right, I think that's good enough. All right, Madam Clerk, will you please call the next item?
The next item is the consent calendar, and I have only one speaker on item number 6. Are you ready for public comments?
Yes.
So Lorraine Brown is speaking on item 6 on the consent calendar.
Ms. Brown?
Well, I'm all in favor of putting money towards our infrastructure, since with all of our spending and building spree, we neglected our infrastructure. I do, the foundation, keep us safe and happy. But I have some concerns that a few years ago, I don't know exactly what happened. I handed it over to some people, probably they dropped the ball. There was a request that hospitals would start a water treatment plant. And now my concern is, are we getting SMUD, recycled, dirty water, black water in our water? What sites are now designated as considered hospital or substations, subsidiaries? And is that water, are we being exposed to that water? I know there was some debate on we can't use that water for plants because it would kill the plants. You can't dump it in the Pacific Ocean like they were dumping uranium because it's killing all the whales and the fish. And it might be doing all that to me, So I don't like that. And I'm thinking we really need to make that public knowledge, public information. We need to know how that water is being used, who's using it. Are we being exposed? Are we being put at risk? With our NATO and our redevelopment and all of our privatized government, we have a lot of foreign investors that really don't understand our laws and really don't care about our laws. And as you can see, they're laughing in our face when we are harmed by these venal agreements where people are selling their political office, their contacts, basically prostituting their office because they don't care. They're not from this country, you know.
Ms.
So
Brown, your
anyway,
time is up.
can we please
Thank you
address
for your
that?
comments.
Thank
you
you
very much.
Okay.
All right, we have a couple council members punched up to speak. Mr. Chenier? Your
That's from before.
consent calendar? No?
That's from before.
Mr. Guerra?
Oh, I'll move the consent calendar.
All right. We have a motion from Mr. Guerra and a second from Mr. Carr by a nose. Any other comments? The only thing I want to say is to Public Works staff on item 10, the creation of the Active Transportation Commission, to say thank you for that. That's going to be a great change from our former City County Bicycle Commission. With that, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion's unanimous. Madam Clerk?
I think you'll know the answer to this, Vice Mayor. What is the timing on, because we're going to have to make new appointments, do you know the timing on that for the new?
I believe it's a 30-day, Mr. City Attorney will correct me, it's 30 days for the ordinance to take effect. And then I believe since the council members have an opportunity to appoint, if you know in advance, like many of us are already thinking,
right?
We'll have those appointments probably fairly quickly. The PNP process, we'll have to post those, and Madam Clerk will tell us what the timeline is to get it to PNPE and then to council.
So our goal is to have that committee up and running in the next couple of months with whatever we can get
Yeah.
appointed and then have PNP process.
Are we able to post before the ordinance takes effect, the open positions? Mr. City Attorney says yes. Okay.
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 All right, yes, we'll have to get thinking
So
on
yeah,
that.
start thinking of who you'd like to appoint.
Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
The next item is item 15, a public hearing. The title is amending the Sacramento Center for Innovation, the SCI specific plan prohibiting cannabis cultivation and making other non-substantive changes to the plan.
If I can have the PowerPoint, please. Good evening, council members. I'm Remy Mendoza with the Community Development Department. The item before you is an amendment of the Sacramento Center for Innovation Specific Plan to prohibit cannabis cultivation and make other non-substantive changes, which include updating the formatting and pictures in the plan to create a user-friendly document. The plan area is located southeast of Sacramento State University, west of Granite Regional Park. The area is bounded by Highway 50 to the north, Union Pacific Rail Line to the west, Power Inn Road to the east, and 21st Avenue at the south. The specific plan was prepared in partnership with the university, the Power Inn Alliance, and SMUD. It was adopted by City Council in 2013. It is a 10 to 20-year plan that serves as a tool to guide the orderly redevelopment of the nearly 250 acres of land in the plan area. The plan area is anticipated to transition over time from industrial to a hub for innovative technology businesses, including retail, office, flex space, research and development, and housing. The area is poised for significant future growth, due in part to several factors as shown on this map. First, the city is currently working on extending Ramona Avenue. This new connection will increase direct access to Sacramento State. Secondly, the university has made major investment in the plan area, including the purchase of Folsom Hall and the purchase and remediation of 25 acres on Ramona Avenue. Finally, new residential development is also driving the transformation of the plan area, with a nearly completed $75 million private student housing project on 9 acres near the Ramona Avenue roadway. With these significant public and private investments in mind, the specific plan was prepared, and it includes land use and development standards, circulation options, utility infrastructure analysis, as well as finance and implementation. The area is envisioned as a hub for innovative businesses and technology industries. A key goal is the creation of a center south of Sacramento State University that brings together the public and private sectors to promote innovative businesses. In an effort to make this vision a reality, in 2013, the plan area was rezoned from heavy industrial to manufacturing, research and development, and general commercial. At this time in 2013, cultivation was not yet a legal land use and therefore not considered in the plan. Since the adoption of the plan, the city has adopted regulations to allow cannabis cultivation as a conditional use within certain zones in the city. This use, however, is inconsistent with the vision, goals, and policies of the SCI area. Accordingly, the planning director is recommending the use be specifically prohibited in the SCI specific plan to avoid confusion and enhance clarity for future applicants. As proposed, the plan would be amended with a new section on page 33 to prohibit cannabis cultivation. Cannabis cultivation is a low-intensity use not consistent with the vision for the area as a technology research hub that capitalizes off the area's proximity to Sacramento State. Locating non-compatible businesses within the area would also dilute the effect of the synergistic technology research hub that the city is trying to facilitate. Prohibiting cannabis cultivation within the SCI is consistent with the general plan goals and policies, and it will ensure that the vision for the SCI can be achieved. Thank you, and with that, I conclude my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item?
I have no speakers on this item.
All right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice Mayor. I do have two speakers. The first is Matt Kiesling, and then Dr. Mike Lee.
All right, Mr. Kiesling.
Apologize.
We're primed and ready for your efficient elegance.
Efficiency. Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. Matt Kiesling here tonight on behalf of the Power and Alliance. I will be incredibly brief. We are here tonight to wholeheartedly support staff's recommendation. We want to thank Jim and Remy for the work they've done on this to date. The specific plan area has very clear goals and objectives that are laid out in the document. We firmly believe that cannabis cultivation is not the highest and best use of the buildings within the specific plan area and ask that you support staff's recommendation. Thank you, and we're available for questions.
Model testimony.
And our last speaker is Dr. Mike Lee.
Dr. Lee.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Mike Lee. I'm the Vice President for Administration and Chief Financial Officer of Sac State. Let me start by thanking the City and the Council for all these years of support and making Sac State a stronger and better university for the community. I'm here to speak in support of the City's effort to keep the Sacramento Center for Innovation on its course to become the model for innovation and technology development. And Sac State has put in tremendous amount of resources into this area, including building up Folsom Hall. And we have put in nursing program in there, we put in physical therapy, and we just recently moved in our speech pathology and audiology program. It's shaping up to be a tremendous resource for the university as well as for the community. So I want to continue that effort and be able to do a lot more for the city of Sacramento. And so I'm here very simply asking your support. I think the city has done tremendous work. We'd like to continue to work with the city, and thank you very much for the support.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Let's open the public hearing. Mr. Garrett actually punched up early, but I accidentally hit the button. So, rookie mistake. Mr. Garrett, will you go first for us?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. First, I'd like to move to open the public hearing.
Okay.
And also thank all the staff for all their work and the work from the university and the Power and Alliance on this issue. I do remember in 2008 when we began looking at the Sacramento Science Center for Innovation. This is clearly an update on the specific plan and making sure that everything we do in that facility meets the goals that were intended at that time, and that's why we made the specific changes prior to in prior councils. Back then, I was just a community participant, and it's interesting to be back here on this side. And with that, I want to thank the staff again on their great work on this issue. With that, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'll move to close the public hearing and move the item.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. First, I'd like to thank Eric and the District 6 staff for doing an excellent job in eliminating the types of uses that they think will be detrimental to this particular area of their community. And District 2 has had similar requests and similar desires to participate in a discussion and then ultimately in helping to determine where the cultivation uses would be, in my opinion and in others, probably not the ideal business model for our Del Paso Boulevard partnership. And so, I know our office has spoken with, I believe you, Remy, earlier about including the Del Paso Boulevard partnership to the exemption. And I think there was, apparently there is some reason it couldn't be added tonight. However, from the dais, I'd like to make that request to my colleagues that we also add the Del Paso Boulevard partnership in the exemption, in that it would not, cultivation would not be allowed on the boulevard. And I wanted to ask our city attorney if there's some reason why I could not add that as an amendment to the staff's recommendation and offered as a friendly amendment to Mr. Guerra and Mr. Carr's second. If there's some reason that we could not, we have the Del Paso Boulevard Partnership is a special planning district as well, and we wanted to add the exemption that would not allow cultivation along the Del Paso Boulevard
Mr.
Partnership.
City Attorney, would you like to speak?
Yes, I have two responses to that, Councilmember Warren. First is because the special planning districts are each found in a separate chapter in the code. It would require a further code amendment, and it would be a substantive change to the ordinance that's being proposed here tonight. And so we'd need to go through the regular ordinance process. We can't make substantive changes to the ordinances after they've been PFP'd. So we'd have to go through our regular ordinance process to do that. The second thing is right now, this ordinance amendment is based upon some findings about the particular location. So we need to go back before we brought that amendment to the council to do the findings to show the basis for making that addition to the special planning district. It can be done. We just need to go through that process.
Mr. Warren, would you like the city manager to add that to the Long Ledge follow-up log so that that ordinance process can begin?
Well, I mean, this is something that I had talked about, a year ago, essentially, when we started this discussion, and, it would seem to be redundant and inefficient of our time and our efforts when, this is something that I've made a point of stating previously. And so, I mean, if I'm hearing that, Matt, this is the only way for us to make this exclusion, then, I'm willing to go through that process. However, it would seem to me that there would be some other remedy for this situation.
I believe the point the attorney made was the legally defensible process to update the other specific plan, because we've dealt with a couple other specific plan updates, is maybe to go through the amendment process forthrightly rather than to append it to this. Is that what I understood?
Well, I was actually, that would be correct for that special planning district. I think you're talking about the Del Paso Boulevard Special Planning District, correct? So that because that would be a substantive change to the ordinance that was presented tonight. It's adding a restriction in a totally different area of the city that wasn't contemplated by this ordinance. It would be a substantive change to that was presented and went through the ordinance process PFP last week. So the council rules and our procedures say if you do a substantive amendment, we go through the regular process and it would go back through and come back. Additionally, as the Vice Mayor pointed out, to make sure that we feel comfortable that it's a defensible position, the special planning, the SCI and the cultivation here are based on specific findings about the incompatibility of this use with the SCI. We can look at making those same findings for the Del Paso, but we just need to go through that exercise to have a defensible amendment to that special planning district.
And those property owners may need a notice so they can participate in a hearing, and they weren't properly noticed for this hearing.
I want to know so can you just walk me through the process and the amount of time that it would take? If you're saying we have to start from today going through this this process.
I think Mr. McDonald could probably give you a better indication on how much time that would take. The ordinance takes no time at all, practically speaking, but just through the process, maybe Mr. McDonald can answer that question.
If we're directed by council tonight to initiate that process, it would probably take a couple months to come back to council.
So can you then walk me through those couple of months?
I wanted to clarify that we're amending a specific plan tonight, and it's amended by resolution. It's a policy document. The document that you're asking us to amend is a special planning district that's amended by ordinance. So they're entirely different documents, and we have not done any outreach or notification. So we would have to draft an ordinance, have it reviewed by the city attorney's office, do outreach with the council and with the community, and then get queued up for hearings.
And so, if we start with what we want the outcome to be, and then, because obviously, legally, we want to do what's legal to get there. So what we want to do is eliminate the possibility of cultivation in a commercial corridor that's on the rebound, and so we don't want buildings that are boarded and vacant and inaccessible for retail uses. That's what we're trying to prevent. So it's cultivation just happens to be the item. It could be some other item that if they had the same types of conditions put on it where they were boarded and vacant and not available for retail uses, I would have a similar view of that. And so if knowing that that's what we're trying to get to in terms of the final decision as it relates to land uses on Del Paso Boulevard in this special planning district, then I'm just looking for the most efficient way to get there. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what I'd like for council to help lead us through that process.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
So let me just be, am I clear enough tonight that this is, I want to go through the process that's necessary to bring this back to council so we can get to a vote?
Yes.
Okay, and what I'm hearing is that we can do that in a couple of months?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Warren, I think per our council procedures, the best way is to request that the city manager, either at the end of this meeting or at some point, add it to the law and legislation log for follow-up, so that then will direct staff.
Okay, but let me just be clear, because I'm hearing the legal people tell me one thing. If the city manager is saying something that's in conflict with what I just heard, then I want to know about that, and I want to follow as I had stated before, the most effective way to bring the item back to council.
So, red button.
So by placing it on the law and ledge log tonight, we're going to work through the process that Mr. McDonald just described. And we can walk through what that timing looks like, and we'll provide you an update on, after we've had a chance to take a look at timing on when it can come back to council.
But is it?
And then it has to go to the planning commission, law and
right.
ledge, and then
I want to know, Howard, is that consistent though, to time-wise in terms of what we just heard?
I believe that's the case.
Okay. If that's the process, then fine. Great, thank you.
Ms. Ashby.
So first of all, I just wanted to congratulate District 6 on great work, and your staff and your team and your community advocates that are here. I think this is a good decision for that corridor. I think it'll really help an already very lively and thriving part of District 6. So congratulations, Councilmember Guerra. I want to support Councilmember Warren, and then the piece I'm just sort of, I think I'm hearing two sort of different things happening. One is, I've been here for a while and I haven't seen very many things be asked for on this dais go all the way through Law and Ledge and the Planning Commission and get back here in 2 months. So I just want to make sure that you set up a reasonable expectation. And I understand why it can't be added to tonight's item. It's two different districts, entities. But I do think that you should work with the city manager, with Howard, and Councilmember Warren's office on a schedule, because there may be some ways that you could shorten that schedule. Perhaps Councilmember Chenier could help move things faster, or if it does, I doubt that it will be controversial with the community, since we heard from that community during these hearings. That is the reason he's asking for it, is because the community asked for it at that time. It is a well-organized community with leadership in place. So in terms of your laundry list of items that need to be done, the ordinance can be written very quickly. The outreach to the district, so you can have a draft immediately. The outreach could be very short because the district was already engaged. We've already heard from them. They have a central point person, they have an executive director, and they have the council member. I don't think that will be very difficult. And then, so the Law and Ledge and the Planning Commission really become the backlog, so you'll have to work with Ryan DeVore on getting that in front of planning very quickly and getting either Council Member Chenier to streamline it or send it directly back to council. And I would just say that we don't want to make this one harder than it is. You have language in place that is replicable, even though it's a different entity, and we have heard from the people already. This is not the first time he's asked for it. He was told it was something different. Councilmember Guerra's given him a terrific roadmap to use here, and I think we should follow it. This particular corridor, the Del Paso Boulevard Partnership, that special planning district, we have tried for a long time. It's had many names in the 8 years that I have been here, but the one thing consistent is that it is the arts and economic corridor of the northern area, and I want to make sure that we protect it. People from my district go there often for arts and food and their economy. So to the extent that we can really stick to a 2-month timeline, I will believe that when I see it, that it's back here in that time frame. But I hope that we can do that, and I hope that you will do the outreach necessary with the Planning Commission and either Law and Ledge or straight back to the council, and make sure he has a reasonable expectation on what that timeline looks like.
The city manager would like to give you more information.
Right, so we understand the intent and the urgency from Councilmember Warren, and so what I propose is that we put together a calendar, we take a look at Law and Ledge, Planning Design Commission, and get a schedule to you early next week on what that looks like.
Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, this actually took an awful lot of work. It took months to get here. This is a really unique change, an amendment to an area, and I think that it's well conceived and well planned and well thought out. I'd like to thank the Power and Alliance and Mr. Kiesling and Mike Lee and everybody who worked on this, because it wasn't an easy lift, but I think it's done for the right reasons and will affect a really positive change. The SEI actually reaches into District 3 just a little bit, and you know, I've had to ponder this question of cannabis uses adjacent to school numerous times in my district, and I've really come to the opinion that I don't favor cannabis uses anywhere near the university, because we're trying to change the way things work in that area. It's been an interesting area to work with, and I think that this is a really good project to pursue, and I'm in support.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. We've opened the public hearing. We've closed the public hearing. Now it's time for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item.
Item number 16 is proposed changes to planned North Natomas roadway improvements, which was noticed on January 12, 2018.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and City Council. My name is Pell Clark. I'm here for the Public Works Department for the Transportation Division. I'm recommending that Council approve 2 resolutions to amend the Bikeway Master Plan and the City General Plan, and also certify the supplemental EIR. The resolutions would only allow bikes and pedestrians on 2 facilities, White Eagle Lane and the future Natomas Crossing Drive, so trucks and cars would not be allowed. The neighborhood and community has asked for exclusive pedestrian and bikeway connections, and that requires changes to the North Natomas Community Plan. On the map, the red circle shows the existing north-south roadway that we are converting to a path for bikes and pedestrians based on the letters and emails and community meetings going back at least 10 years. The existing north-south connection on the aerial photo is named Gibraltar Street, and it's also called White Eagle Lane, and it's between Britannia Way and Windsong Street. This area is where the future Natomas Crossing Drive was planned from East Commerce Way over I-5 to the westerly city limits near El Centro Road. The resolutions amend the general plan to remove the two-lane roadway for vehicles along this section and amends the bikeway master plan to replace it with a path for bikes and pedestrians. The resolutions don't change anything planned for the area east of East Commerce Way. This project stems from many meetings, letters, emails, and requests from the community going back at least 12 years. So we're asking you today to certify the environmental report and approve the resolutions to amend the general plan and the bikeway master plan.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
We don't have any people signed up to speak, so Ms. Ashby.
Yeah, I can be incredibly brief too, and then close the public hearing and
Open.
move. And what's that? Oh, you didn't open it? Okay. Open it and close it, because there are no people signed up to speak. But what I want to say to staff is that this is really good work. We're seeing a solid presentation, but this is, remember back a while ago when we decided to keep Mark Griffin and use him as a retired annuitant? Well, this is the end result. We were able to go through and consolidate these projects and work with transportation and do a lot of things that are helping us in Natomas. So when we bring projects like Centene forward, they are possible because we went through our finance plan and modernized it, and it also serves the public nicely because this is more in line with our Vision Zero goals and biking and walkable communities. These are pedestrian bridges. This will be fantastic in the long term for Natomas. So I'm happy to move the item, and I'm grateful to the city staff all the way around, planning, transportation, finance. Everybody helped. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Harris, did you want to speak?
Well, I just wanted to back up what Angelique said. I think this is a great plan for North Natomas and looking forward to the future. So I guess I've already seconded and ready to go.
Congrats, D1. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item.
Next item is number 17, the City Auditor's Audit of the Department of Parks and Recreation Strategic Planning and Part-Time Employee Benefits Management. Vice Mayor, I have no speakers on this item.
Good evening, members of the council. Lynn Bashaw, Assistant City Auditor. The recommendation before you is that you pass a motion approving the City Auditor's audit of the Department of Parks and Recreation, Strategic Planning, and Part-Time Employee Benefits Management. The City Auditor's Office conducts audits in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards and provides objective, timely, and accurate information about city operations. In an effort to provide council with a well-informed, balanced report, and to develop practical, achievable recommendations, we worked closely with the Department of Parks and Recreation throughout this project. As evidence of this collaborative effort, the department is in agreement with the report's findings and recommendations and has already started working towards implementing some of them. To provide some background information, this slide gives a brief overview of some of the diverse programs and services offered by the Department of Parks and Recreation, or DPR. In addition to its programming, DPR manages and maintains the city's community centers, pools, parks, and trails. As this was our first venture into the Department of Parks and Recreation, we performed a department-wide risk assessment to determine where we were going to focus the audit. Through the risk assessment process, we selected the department's strategic planning and their part-time employee benefits management as two areas for review during this engagement. As DPR was going through the process of reorganizing its operations to establish a youth division, we felt that a look at their strategic planning would not only be timely, but would also complement the department's current restructuring efforts. Finding one is that DPR has not updated key strategic planning guidance. When we reviewed DPR's strategic planning, we found that some of the key guidance had not been updated in several years and that data quality could be improved. Specifically, we noted that the master plan and the strategic plan are obsolete. that DPR could benefit from a needs assessment survey. Registration and call center data could be used to better inform the planning process if it was more complete. Many of the department's programs and services do not have performance measures to evaluate their success, and DPR lacks department-specific policies and procedures. During the audit, we noted that program attendance levels tracked in the class registration system have been declining over the last 4 years. While DPR does not track all programs and services in this system, it is an overall indicator of the relevance of the programs and services, and if the data was more complete, could be used to better inform the department's programming strategy. This figure shows DPR call categories received by 311, the number of calls received in each category, and the percentage of total for fiscal year 2017. This exercise revealed that over 40% of the calls were categorized as either other or general info. Having more precise and consistent data would aid DPR in their strategic planning process, and by pinpointing the types of calls received, DPR could work to reduce the number of incoming service calls related to their programs and amenities. In addition to quality data, performance measures are also a critical element of the planning process. Establishing and monitoring programming performance measures will better equip DPR to monitor and evaluate their progress over time. Failure to establish goals and objectives could lead to programs and services that continuously underperform or do not meet management or the public's expectations. Outdated strategic guidance could lead to poor planning and inefficient resource allocation. Without specific goals in mind, there are no real benchmarks for evaluating success. In finding one, we made recommendations for DPR to update their strategic planning documents, conduct a needs assessment survey, establish performance measures, improve data quality, and to develop policies. Finding 2 is developing a formal cost recovery philosophy may help the Department of Parks and Recreation better align its pricing practices with its mission and core values. Specifically, we found that pricing and cost recovery levels for programs and services have not been evaluated department-wide. DPR is not establishing cost recovery goals or determining cost recovery levels as required by the citywide fees and charges policy, and additional revenue enhancement practices could be explored. The creation of a cost recovery philosophy is a key component to maintaining an agency's financial control, ensuring that programs are equitably priced, and helps to identify the department's core services. The audit found the DPR has not developed a department-wide cost recovery philosophy that guides their pricing. Historically, fees and charges have been updated on an ad hoc basis. This figure is a high-level snapshot of DPR's cost recovery percentages by division. However, without guiding principles or philosophies, it is difficult to determine if this is in line with management's expectations. Defining the department's cost recovery levels and goals will provide a framework with which to calculate fees, cover appropriate costs, provide justification for adding or removing programs, and help decision makers to evaluate a program's impact on the general fund. We also noted some revenue enhancement strategies for DPR to consider while developing their cost recovery model. These include implementing the commercial sponsorship program, incorporating non-resident fees into the fee schedule, and starting a utility bill voluntary donation program. Recognizing that historically, the demand for funding has far outweighed the general fund's ability to fully cover costs, DPR must continually search for alternative revenue sources in order to maintain their current level of service. In finding 2, we made recommendations for DPR to define the department's cost recovery goals and objectives, bring pricing in line with citywide fees and charges policy, and consider implementing revenue enhancement strategies. Finding 3 is that supervisors responsible for monitoring part-time employee hours have not received labor relations training. Specifically, we found that part-time employees are being offered benefits in accordance with CalPERS and health benefits hours work guidelines. Some supervisors were not formally trained on labor relations topics. Policies and procedures had not been developed to provide guidance on part-time employee hours worked, reporting, and responsibility, and a former CalPERS member had not been re-enrolled in CalPERS. In addition to the department's full-time staff, DPR has hundreds of active part-time and temporary employees who are responsible for contributing to the success of the various programs and services that DPR offers. Based on our testing, part-time employees who met the hours worked requirements were currently being offered retirement and health benefits. Areas for improvement, however, included supervisor training and policy development. This slide shows that when we tested training records for DPR supervisors and managers, we found that 20 out of 41 had not received labor relations training. Failure to consistently train employees on benefits, labor agreements, employment and classification rules could lead to supervisors and managers incorrectly applying these rules. In our opinion, supervisor training and a clear set of policy guidelines are essential to ensure DPR administers part-time employees in a responsible and efficient manner. In finding 3, we made recommendations for DPR to identify employees in supervisory roles, require that they attend labor relations training, and develop policies on managing part-time employees.
Thank you, Ms. Bishaw, for your presentation. Was that it?
I just have one little last.
Thank you. I thought that was for us to say thank you to you for all of your hard work.
I was going to start, and then...
Oh, okay. We don't have any members of the public signed up, and I don't see any of my colleagues punched up, but I do know our interim parks director, Ms. Brown, would like to just make a short, very eloquent and efficient statement to the council about implementing these recommendations. Ms. Brown?
Thank you, Vice Mayor and members of City Council. Shannon Brown, Interim Director for the Department of Youth, Parks, and Community Enrichment. On behalf of the department, I would like to thank the City Auditor and staff for their thorough review and identifications of areas of improvement, as well as recommendations supported by industry-recognized best practices and standards of excellence. The department concurs with the recommendations from the City Auditor's report. Corrective actions already underway. The department is developing new draft guidelines for policies, procedures, and training plans, and we are working in alignment with the Department of Human Resources. Additionally, the department has begun our strategic planning process to complete our mission, vision, and goals that align with our new organizational structure.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Council members, any questions for either the auditor or the department? I don't see any. Is there a motion to accept the item? We have a motion from Ms. Ashby, a second from Mr. Harris, just barely nudging out Mr. Guerra. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you for all the hard work in making the department better. And it's now the Department of Youth, Parks, and Community Enrichment. So, thank you. That old department is what we were talking about. All right, next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Item number 18 is the City Auditor's follow-up audit on the Golden One Center local hiring and business involvement.
All right. Good evening, Vice Mayor Hansen and members of the City Council. Jorge Ceguera, your City Auditor. With me today is Farishta Arari, who was primarily responsible for completing this audit. The recommendation that is before you is that you pass a motion approving the follow-up audit of the Golden One Center local hiring and business involvement. In February of 2016, our office released an audit of the Golden One local hiring and business involvement report, which indicated that the project was on track to meet its performance measures. The objective of this audit was to confirm whether the Golden One Center project's local hiring and business involvement performance goals were actually met at the completion of the project. Before we get started, oh, it's not coming up, sorry. But anyways, there's some slides on this. Before we get started, I would like to just make a brief statement. Typically, our audit reports are a little critical of the areas that we're auditing, just a little bit, a smidge. So it may seem a little strange that in this report, we may be lacking some of that criticalness. However, I want to assure you that this report reflects positively on the G1C project because that is indeed what we found. Those involved in the G1C project worked very hard and made changes during the construction of the Golden One Center to ensure that they met or exceeded the performance goals that were set. As a result, this follow-up audit has 4 findings and makes no recommendations as the project goals appear to have been met and the project is nearly complete. Our first finding highlights that the Golden One Center project appears to have met or exceeded its local hiring and priority apprentice goals. Specifically, the goals we reviewed include an agreement to hire at least 60% of the journey level workers and 70% of the apprentices from the local area. As shown on this slide, the local journey level workers goal was exceeded by 6% and local apprentices by 11 percentage points. The CWTA supplemental agreement also included a goal to ensure apprentices perform no less than 20% of the total number of building and construction trade hours performed on the project. The Golden One Center project also appeared to have met this goal with 20% of the hours performed by apprentices. It is difficult to see on this slide, but we found that over 1,600 of the workers lived in Sacramento County and had received nearly $36 million in pay from July 2014 to July of 2017. This is by far the most impacted county, with 43% of the workers from the Sacramento County.
Could you repeat that? I think it's really important.
This is by far the most impacted county, with 43%.
The 36 million piece.
Oh, the other one? Okay, sure. That's an important one, too.
Yeah, it is. Also
1,600 of the workers on this project lived in Sacramento County and received nearly $36 million in pay.
Thank you.
For this project. So, as a result, it appears that the Kings made a great effort to hire local workers to work on the construction of the Golden One Center. We also found that the Golden One Center project achieved 130% of its Priority Apprentice Program goal. This goal was to hire at least 70 priority apprentices to work on the Golden One Center. At least 20 of these apprentices must meet the new priority worker criteria. The priority apprentices contributed more than 67,000 hours on the construction of the Golden One Center and Plaza and received more than $1.6 million in gross pay. That's $1.6 million in gross pay. On average, each priority apprentice worked more than 700 hours on the construction of the Golden One Center Plaza, and an average hourly pay was given of $24.46 and more than $18,000 in gross pay per apprentice. SETA also informed us that there were an additional 52 individuals that met the priority apprentice criteria but did not work on the construction of the Golden One Center project. These individuals were hired by contractors to work on construction projects in other areas. Although these individuals did not work on the Golden One Center project, the Priority Apprentice Program appears to have positively impacted more than 91 priority apprentices outlined in the follow-up audit. Our second finding focuses on local and small business involvement goals that were developed for the Golden One Center project. The program's goal was to award 60% of biddable work related to the Golden One Center design, construction, and professional services to local business enterprises and 20% to small business enterprises, of which 75% must be local small business enterprises. For this review, we relied on information provided by Turner Construction Company and the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce to assess the local business enterprises, the small business enterprises, and the local small business involvement, as it was the best available information. Based on the information provided by Turner Construction Company and the Sacramento Metro Chamber of Commerce, it appears the project met its local and small business involvement goals. As shown on this slide, the goal for local business involvement was 60%, and we estimate that they reached 73%, local business involvement. The small business involvement goal was 20%, and that was met as well. Lastly, the goal for the local small business involvement was set at about 75%, and we estimate that 92% were local small businesses. Finding 3 covers our review of emerging capital projects and some economic indicators to determine whether the Golden One Center positively impacted the downtown area. Due to our limited time and resources, we did not perform an economic impact analysis, but rather a high-level review of emerging capital projects and some economic indicators. We attempted to highlight some of the subsequent projects that have moved forward since the Golden One Center project was announced. Since the year the Golden One Center has opened, there have been many developments and building improvements in the area surrounding the Golden One Center. Of note are the new Kimpton Sawyer Hotel and the Downtown Commons. These projects appear to be a direct result of the Golden One Center, as they are being constructed by the Sacramento Kings ownership group. Although there are many other development projects surrounding the Golden One Center, we could not determine whether they were directly tied to the construction of the Golden One Center or if they would have occurred without the Golden One Center project. The other economic indicators we reviewed include the city's parking revenues, the city's transient occupancy tax revenue, The Sacramento County secured rural district valuation reports that identify property values for property tax collection. However, we should note that given the many variables that may impact economic growth and development, it is difficult to determine how much, if any, of the economic impacts noted can be directly attributed to the development of the Golden One Center. According to the city's Parking Services Division, total revenue was nearly $31 million in fiscal year 2013 and jumped to $37 million during fiscal year 2017. However, the city also modernized its parking program during the same time of the construction of the Golden One Center. The Sacramento County Assessor's Office reports show an increase of 58% in property values for the central city. The area of the city the Golden One Center is located relative to 2006 values. However, property values have also increased in the city of Sacramento as a whole and other cities we compared, including cities like Elk Grove, Citrus Heights, and Folsom. According to the city's finance department, transient occupancy tax collected by the city has increased from $23.8 million during fiscal year 2015 to $28.5 million during fiscal year 2017. Although it is difficult to prove direct correlation between some of these economic indicators and the Golden One Center, the indicators noted point to a local economy that is improving, which was the goal in approving the construction of the Golden One Center. The city's Economic Development Department plans to conduct an economic impact report for the Golden One Center in the upcoming year. This report may provide more detailed look at the economic impact of the Golden One Center and the city's downtown area. Our fourth and last finding is in this follow-up report is in regards to the lessons learned from the construction of the Golden One Center and the community impact goals established for the project. We noted that the key contract provision, which protected the city from sharing in over $80 million of cost overruns was significant. In fact, the original term sheet estimated that the city's contribution was going to be approximately 57.6% of the project costs. However, since the city did not need to contribute to cost increases, the city's final contribution ended up being 45.6%. We also surveyed individuals we believe were involved in the monitoring of the Golden One Center community impact goals to determine whether there were areas of improvement that we could learn from if we were to implement similar goals on future capital projects. Respondents believed the priority apprentice, local hiring, and local small business improvement goals were set appropriately and were challenging to meet. They also tended to believe the goals were successful in ensuring participation in the construction of the Golden One Center and that a sufficient number of people and businesses were available to employ on the construction project. In addition, they stated that they would likely participate in similar goals for the city of Sacramento in a separate project. Areas noted for improvement include implementing clear and attainable goals and procedures for tracking and meeting the goals, ensuring roles and responsibilities of all parties are clear, and conducting a capacity study of local and small businesses for the project. We would like to thank the Information Technology Department, the Sacramento Kings, Turner Construction Company, SETA, Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, and the various other organizations that were involved in this audit for their time and cooperation during our process. At this time, I am open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. City Auditor. We've got 3 people signed up to speak, but before that, there's a gentleman named Jeff Dorso behind you from the Kings. I don't know if you want to say anything on behalf of the other large partner that we had in this project.
Sure. Good evening, Vice Mayor, Council. Jeff Dorso, Senior Vice President, General Counsel for the Kings. Hard to believe it's been 5 years since we started on this road, almost to the day, in 2013. And we're sitting here, a lot of questions, a lot of challenges along the way, and I think this is really a nice summation of where we ended up. And I think, you know, it's reflective today with State of the Downtown. There was a lot of discussion and cheerleading, and one of the things I think I took away from today, and I think this project reflects that, is really, you know, go big, dream big, don't be afraid to go after something great. And I know with our
And
goal.
make a good deal.
And a good deal. And I think the council, certainly the city of Sacramento, the staff, this is really a reflection of their efforts as well as the efforts of our partners on the construction side with Turner Construction, the building trades. I saw Mr. Ferreira here earlier. I don't know if
He'll be
he's still here.
speaking in a moment as soon as you're done.
You're going to follow me? All right, Kevin.
Well-
So anyhow, just a reflection of them. And we really we benchmarked it at what the highest goals had been on similar projects, and then we went higher. And I think everyone sitting in the room kind of took a deep breath and said, well, we can try. And everyone really put their best foot forward, and they achieved it. So I think it's a good example of setting a high goal, and you're going to reach what you set. So thank you, and I think everyone should take a lot of pride in that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dorso. For public comment, we've got Dennis Canaveri. Then after, we've got 3 members, then Kevin Ferreira, and then Noah Painter. You guys want to come and join us? It's
Vice Mayor, council members, thank you. As you can see from the audit report, we met or exceeded most of our goals, stated objectives as far as local hire and apprenticeship opportunities. This unique program that was created during this construction opportunity created relationships between community-based organizations and the construction trades that help replenish the workforce of skilled and trained individuals that have been decimated by the recent recession. So I look forward to improving on the lessons learned during the Golden One Center construction, and working within the city and local residents on future projects to create opportunities for apprenticeship and career pathways. And in the end, basically, I just want to thank you for the opportunity on the Golden One Arena and the trust you gave to the building trades. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, and thanks for everything the sheet metal workers did on the project. Mr. Ferreira.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members. Again, I just want to reiterate that the building trades is very thankful for the opportunity to perform on this project. You know, it's an iconic building in the area, and we would like to continue these kind of relationships and these kind of agreements on future developments. The audit report is, couldn't get any better, as far as the cooperation between all the entities that, when we want to complete something or work together, this is what we can do. So we look forward to doing more agreements like this on future developments. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Painter.
Vice Mayor, council members, Noah Painter on behalf of IBEW Local 340. Just want to thank the auditor, the Kings, and the city for a successful project and a great audit. We do want to mimic or try to recreate this on future policy on city projects. We think it was a huge success. It's provided not only an entertainment venue, but it's a huge civic amenity. We came in under budget and under cost, and it's something that we look forward to doing in the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. First, I'd like to thank Jorge and his staff for 2 great audits, actually. You're always thoughtful in your presentation, and they're both really good pieces of work. Thank you, Lynn. And, I have to disagree a little bit with Mr. Ferreira. This isn't an iconic building for the area. It's for the entire world. This is a pretty remarkable building, and it has gotten worldwide attention. As a builder, I got to watch this building be erected in a very short amount of time with very significant challenges, dewatering, just to name one. But watching the building go up was very exciting for me because I got to see the quality with which it was constructed. So that's a testament to our local workforce. But the fact that we train so many apprentices is really significant, and will have a very big impact on our city because we have a shortage of skilled workers. And everything we can do to train a new crop is value gained. So an awful lot of good, obviously, has come out of the G1C, and certainly the indicators that you mentioned, Jorge, are very powerful. But as time goes on, I would really like to see a more significant analysis of the economic impacts of G1C. We've invested very heavily in this structure, And, you know, we really need to get a clear idea of what it has done. And I think our constituents really want to see that. You know, you indicated that you did a high-level look at this, and all the indicators are great, but we really need to have a significant analysis done moving forward. Anyway, that being said, I'd like to move approval of the audit, and again, thanks for everybody who worked on building this incredible building, and really happy that it's here.
We have a motion. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Chenier.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A couple things. First of all, I agree on the economic analysis that we need, and Jorge and I have talked about it. I've talked about it with the city manager. I'm not sure the auditor is the one to do that, but maybe we can request that the city manager figure out who is, and it may be something that we have to come back.
Maybe the independent budget
I know we've
analyst.
talked about this.
Well, John Dangberg.
John Dangberg, who?
City Manager's
Who are
Office. We are, in fact, doing an economic impact analysis, and the idea was to wait a year so that we had something to analyze. And then we also have to wait for the reporting of property tax and sales tax data to come into Board of Equalization in the county and get adjusted. We've already gone out with an RFP for that work, and should be selecting someone here shortly. So we will, by, I would say, but around budget time, June, July of this year, should have a report ready for you.
In the RFP, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can you show revenues to other government entities?
Yes.
Generated as well, and
Absolutely.
just have that broken out?
Yeah, State of California, county.
Schools?
Yes, it will all
Thank
be
you.
there.
Thank you.
Great.
Can I ask John a question before he sits down? In the original economic analysis, it was $250 million from the city, and we were to get back about $7 billion in benefit. Over what time period was that $7 billion?
30 years.
30
So
years.
I'm not sure which 7 million you're referring to,
$7
but
billion in economic benefit that we were to derive from investing the $250 million. But I know it wasn't 1 year,
Well,
but I can't remember
yeah,
the time
what
period.
we focused on primarily was the revenue that would be utilized and generated to cover our debt service on our $255 million. So that was the primary focus. We really tried to stay away from projecting speculative revenues ahead of financing this project, because simply said, it can cause you to spend money that might not happen. And that was one thing we stuck to with this deal and putting it together, is we weren't risking the general fund against speculative revenues. So we really zeroed in on the parking revenues and the parking monetization, the lease revenues from the Kings that go up to $18 million a year to the city at the end of the lease, a minimum of $18 million a year. We've got the increase of $7 million in the parking
John,
revenue.
I know we were covering our
Mr. Carr, do you want to
Property
wait till we
tax.
come back
costs,
to you?
but the question was, didn't someone do a projection on what the total benefit to the area was going to be?
Well, there were some economic impact analyses that were done by outside parties.
Don. Mr. Carr, we can bring him back up, but we have other members who are punched up. Let's stay on,
Don't go far away
on the
then.
list. All right, Mr. Schneer, are you done?
No, not even
Okay.
close. So.
That I had a sense.
Pretty close. Actually, so this is the second time I've heard the audit. We heard it in budget audit. It's actually a very exciting piece of work. I want to say thank you and congratulations, and thank the Kings for the partnership, and also the building trades for their part in the partnership. I just actually want to be brief and say one thing. I brought up a couple of weeks ago at a meeting looking at both the convention center and the theater, and thinking about agreements that are very similar to what we did here because of the results being so good. I want to be really clear. I think that because of the benefits to the city, because of the benefits to apprenticeships, to local hire, and to the overall economic impact, which I'm really excited to see as it comes forward, I think we really need to look at kind of citywide projects. I don't know what the threshold is. I don't want to do it for every $100,000 project, but I think it goes beyond the theater and the convention center. I think everything we do of significance, and maybe it's $1 million, maybe it's $5 million, I've actually asked to see how many projects we have at different funding levels so we can make an informed decision about that. But I do want to be clear that my thought then, and I don't know that I was very articulate about it, but my thought is citywide how do we reap the benefits as we've seen with Golden One on all projects, construction projects that we do. I know Mr. Carr has also talked about community benefit pieces. I think we need to look bigger than that, and I'm getting off topic, but I'll just say things like LA Unified requires internships for high school kids with every contract that they do over a certain amount with any vendor. I think we need to look really far and wide about how do we benefit from the city when we're using city dollars for purchases or construction or things like that. So, Mr. City Manager, I was going to bring this up later, but I think it's appropriate to bring it up now to be clear about all of that. So thank you very much, and thank you for all the work. And John, I'm looking forward to June something, and we'll see what we've done. And I appreciate Mr. Hansen's request. We need to see what the impact has been on our partners around. I think that's really important because we've brought benefit to the entire region. And so as we move in partnership on many items, I think we need to put the data on the table and let everybody see what it looks like. So.
Mr. Guerra.
Great, thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Again, thank you for all our city auditors, staff for this great report. I think glad how you repeated a lot of the good stuff here, and also all our partners with the building trades and the Kings for this being aggressive on this effort. I mean, the numbers showed it. When I looked at the map and we saw the zip codes on where we were impacting folks, and usually we use that map and we overlay information. It's negative, so it's always issues that are we're looking at disparities. But in this case, that map showed a lot of positive good, and so I want to reiterate how much this has actually helped the people in the greatest need. And also, I know Councilmember Carr has taken this issue on to try to expand this on other contracting efforts at the city, but he's also mentioned it at other joint powers authorities and JPAs that we sit on. So if our city staff could help, basically spread the good news or spread the good word on how to do this with our other agencies and assist, Councilmember Carr in the efforts that we're doing it, whether it's regional sanitation or other JPAs, to try to maximize this so it becomes common everywhere throughout our region. I think there's the data here and the proof to show that it's actually working. So with that, great work, City Auditor and everyone else, and glad to support this. Second.
All right, Ms. Ashby.
Okay, so Jorge, can I ask you a question real quick? First of all, really great work, and I mean, great work out of your office, but also just, this was something that I think you opened by saying this, that it's your job to find areas where we can improve. So what we want is for you to come back and tell us there aren't that many areas left for you to improve in this audit. I think is probably the closest I've seen us get to that mark in anything that you have touched so far, which is a big deal. And that's the goal. That's why we have an auditor's office tell us where we can improve. And you had a couple of modest recommendations moving forward, but I'd like to add one to it. And I'm not a huge fan of overburdening projects because construction is a temperamental business. And if you put too much on it, as these guys will all tell you, if you lay too much on it, it can crumble. So I don't want this to be seen as another layer, but I think in terms of goals and measurements, so more on your end than theirs, I think we should look at gender.
Okay.
So are there women-owned businesses getting contracts in the small business and local business? Are some of them? We did this in other ways when we looked at particular zip codes or high priority segments of the population. I think gender could be a component to that. Are women in the project making their way to project lead, like we have done with our audits? Are they getting significant apprenticeship opportunities? Are they business owners? Are they, whatever the positions are along the ranks in these projects? If we're going to do this moving forward, I don't want that component to be left out. And then the second piece is, I've heard Councilmember Chenier say, at least 2, maybe 3 times, and I haven't heard anybody give us a good answer for it yet, and I suspect it's because no one has the right answer for it, but we need to tell this story. So I mean, it's great to have it come here and you present to us, but I don't think, we're doing a good job of telling this story to the masses. We have to find a way to show people that this worked, that we did come in on time and under budget, that we did have a good relationship with national partners, and that we were able to bring in local hires and do all those things, because when we try to replicate it, we don't want to also have to prove that it already worked. We want people to see it and know that already. We want to have credit for the great work that the Kings and the building industry have done really here in the city of Sacramento. And, as we learned, people like John Dingberg, they don't stay forever, right? They're going to retire. He's going to retire and move on. And we don't want to be reliant on having to come back to have a person like that all the time. We have now the roadmap, so let's use it to implement a program, and one of the best ways to do that is tell that story. So I don't know, Howard, I think we need to think of some ways to feature this. For example, cannabis has been our feature item on the website for the last 2 months and on our Twitter feed and on the city stuff. Maybe it's time to take that down and put up some things about our successes here with the Golden One Center and these outcomes on this audit.
Thank you.
And if there's any opportunities that you would suggest where we could participate and help in spreading that word, happy to join in on any of those efforts and make my staff available as well.
And Jeff, I challenge you with that too. I mean, maybe the Kings would have some suggestions. I think building trades and these groups have actually done a really good job in their circle of letting people know. That's what they're actually the impetus for why we're all saying we want to replicate it. I don't think they can do anymore, but I think we could.
Yeah, I think absolutely, and I think one thing I would add just to that note and Jay's, Councilmember Chenier's note is just the process that went into tracking these numbers. I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars spent to sort of implement this program. So I think as you look to do it on a citywide basis on certain capital projects, I think getting that intel from the building trades, Turner, et cetera, on how you build that structure in a way that doesn't become a burden and that becomes a benefit, because it certainly can be.
The other half of that, Jeff, though, is that when people come to us, and I'm sure every council member up here, or at least the ones that were here during the early discussions around this, have given speeches or discussions or talks on how the city half of the equation went. I know for a fact that the Kings are asked those questions all the time too. How'd you put together the funding structure, the implementation? So how can the Kings be a partner to us in telling this story, this half of the story, this sort of equity piece in hiring and diversity and how we're going to move forward with gender and all that stuff? How can we better tell people that we hit those benchmarks?
Absolutely. We have John Jacobs here from our communications team furiously taking notes. So
Okay, good. Well, it's something we can work on moving forward, but I think it's something really important to do.
Great.
Because one other thing we all know is for all these people that bid and got these jobs and these apprentices that were selected, other people were not. And we have all heard from people in this community who think it didn't work because they know a person who wasn't selected. And so we don't want that story to be bigger than the story of the numbers that we doubled or tripled or whatever overperformed on. So it's important to tell this story broadly.
Absolutely agree.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ashby. Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Jorge, on the report, on the first finding, it says the Golden One Center project appears to have exceeded its local hiring goal. Why did you hedge on appears to? You're so definite about what's happened.
Well, because for a lot of this information, we have to rely on the information that's being given to us by the various different entities that are involved. Usually, when we're doing audits of city government, we pull our own information and we have, certain processes that allow us to ensure that what we are testing is accurate. And here, we have to have some faith that the information that we're getting is the accurate representation of the true information. And so, based on that limitation, which is the dependence on being provided accurate information, it appears that this is where those goals, were calculated to have been.
Based on what they told us.
Correct.
We think this might be
That's
true.
that's the only reason. But based on the information, which was solid information, we were able to do this analysis.
Okay. Mr. Daneberg.
You can sit over there, John, if you want. Give you your own microphone.
John, I distinctly remember going to a meeting, I believe it was in Old City Hall, when we were presented with the investment that the city was being asked to give and the payback to the economic benefit that we were to receive for that investment. An outside firm did that? Is that what you think might have happened?
I think it was Think Big or Region Business that
Yeah,
did
we
that
had
economic.
several economic impact studies that were done. But what I would suggest is that, because there were a lot of numbers too. I mean, lots
I
of
remember
sets
that
of numbers.
specifically because that's what I sold to my community.
Yeah. Well, and I know that
They were objecting to the city participating, and I told them time and time again, $250 million for a $7 billion return. And those were the numbers that I was told in Old City Hall by, it wasn't you, it was somebody else.
Well, I'll go out on a limb and say that the returns to the city will be much greater than that when you get your economic impact study. We have had on across the boards where we were being very conservative on some of the estimates that we had for revenue generation. We're exceeding those. From the parking fund to property tax to the only one where we're not performing yet is sales tax to the level we'd like to see, because the retail, we tore down 1 million square feet of retail, or took it out of offline, and some of that is coming back on in 2018. So the retail sales numbers will start showing benefit once all the retail is opened. But across the board, I think you're going to see
Yeah, the
some
projection
very
I saw
positive
included
numbers.
things like other development and things like that, as well as the numbers to cover the debt. That's not what I was talking about, from what I was told.
There are revenues in excess of the debt service that are being generated here. And
So
7 million just...
my only question, John, was what period was that supposed to be? I forgot
Well,
that.
I don't know without knowing the number you're referring to, because there are years where we will have over $7 million in upside, I believe, to show from this project in a single year. So, and it changes every year as we go out, and because we rely more on the lease payments from the Kings to cover the debt service, and so as that offsets our debt service costs from the general fund, that's more upside for the city.
Get that part.
So we'll lay that all out for you in the economic analysis so you can validate exactly what the upside has been to the city from the project.
Jonathan, please don't shout out from the audience. Pastor, Mr. Carr.
Okay.
You have the floor.
I'm not talking about the payback to cover the cost. I'm just talking about the original economic development projection that said if we put $250 million in this project, we would get $7 billion return on our investment. And I'd like to go back and
you said 7 with a B?
B.
Okay, so that clearly came from one of those outside economic studies. That was not a city report that you're referring to. That number I recognize. I thought you were saying 7 million over a period of time.
With the B.
The billion, I do know for a fact that that number was from external economic impact studies that were done by Think Big, and there was another downtown partnership did some economic studies, and there was an independent analyst that
we didn't produce a number like that,
right,
in my study.
My only question was, over what period of time was that $7 billion supposed to come in?
I think it was 30 years. 30 years.
Probably so.
Yeah.
But we'll get you that.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor Emeritus, Mr. Jennings.
I'll be brief. I think a lot has been said, and I think the thing I'm sitting here listening to everything is that we met or exceeded every goal that we set, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So from my standpoint, my simple mind says that if I were to get a report card today, what would my grade to be?
You want me to grade you?
You're my teacher.
Oh man.
What would my grade?
Now you're gonna make me go out on a limb. I would give you an A.
An A in every single subject, correct?
Yeah.
Because there were multiple things that we either met or exceeded.
And I think they were lofty goals that were set, and they were met despite a series of obstacles that were put before them. I think we were fortunate to be able to work with them during the construction of the project to identify some potential issues that might have made it more complicated to reach those goals. And those that were involved didn't hesitate to make changes to ensure that they met or exceeded those goals going forward. And that's a testament to their commitment to this project.
And I heard Dorso say that, you know, we got to a point and then we even stretched ourselves.
Correct.
That's the lofty goals that you're talking about. So I want to make sure I leave here tonight with my chest held out high and telling the entire public about all the community partners that were a part of this and the fact that we met or exceeded every single goal, and that we have opportunity to do this again and again. And then I just want to join with Councilwoman Ashby in talking about how we tell the story. Because I think our community partners can help us with that as far as how do we tell the story. And I think it's important that we tell this story because all of us got that report card together. It wasn't just one of us. We all got that report card together. And whether that's a TED Talk or whether that's a short documentary or whatever it may be, at some point in time, at an anniversary, at an opportunity that we have, we need to tell the story to as large of a forum as we can so that they can see the great work that we did in Sacramento. And then when we get the economic analysis to add on top of what we know tonight, it's just going to be even better. And so I just want to leave here tonight with my chest out high saying great job to everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm excited that we all got A+ on this report card.
In an advanced placement class.
We have another word from Miss Ashby.
But I don't know if I'm like channeling the voice from above, but right when you said that, Rick, I could not help but think of Bonnie Pinnell on the day that we took that vote with jobs, 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 and how proud she would be right now to see this report of overperforming on jobs from the districts that she specifically fought hard to be included.
She's watching us right now.
Yeah, I think she just tapped me on the shoulder.
Yeah. I just have a couple quick things. One, and it may be more for Mr. Dangberg in this next part, but we talked about benefits to other jurisdictions. I think as we make economic development decisions, a lot of the other taxing entities don't realize that they're benefiting from our investment. And how we make that argument is maybe less through the audit, but I think that's something that we have to really try to hit home. With the Sawyer just opening, I think we can begin to estimate revenue over a period of time, but I think it's really going to need a year. Urban Outfitters, I believe, is just opening maybe this week. Punch Bowl just opened. So some of those things, like the movie theaters, are just getting up and running. We probably can't do an accurate economic development impact right away because the ancillary development is still coming online.
Councilmember, we are setting up this economic impact analysis so that it can be updated annually, perhaps even by staff. So we anticipate that for some period of time, maybe 5 successive years, maybe 7, that we will continue to do these economic impacts on this project because you are absolutely right. The benefits will continue on for many years and continue to mushroom from this development.
And just given that's my district, I know a lot of the properties just outside of the footprint of the old downtown plaza have changed hands, have received tenant improvements, or have increased in occupancy. I'm guessing you'll look at the full penumbra surrounding the site.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. The last thing is just, this is a really difficult thing, and I think the auditor may be the right place, but as we continue to think about local hire and priority apprenticeship, there are people who argue that those things come with extra cost, but I believe that if we can quantify the cost versus the benefit, we'll see the benefit stays here and produces a lasting result. I don't know how we make that case, but it's always been that these kind of agreements raise the cost of projects such that they don't make sense, but here, given that we're localizing the benefit through local hiring and priority apprenticeship, it should really, and your numbers begin to help with that, but did you find any specific ratio of cost to benefit for these type of programs?
We didn't look into the cost-benefit analysis for doing these types of apprentice programs versus the cost of implementing the program, but it was part of the results that we received through the survey that we did of the different entities that were involved, that there was some concern about giving some consideration to the amount of resources that are required in order to accurately track this information going forward. And so I think given the results of a project like this, it makes for an easier case to be able to make in pushing for something like this on other projects as well, demonstrating how even though it may be difficult to achieve these types of results, it is something that is doable and that these types of results can be replicated.
Okay. It's something we may want to consider in our other work, but thank you. I don't see anybody else punch up to speak. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Council comments, ideas? All right, Mr. Carr.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The Governance and Policy Ad Hoc Committee met on the 12th. We had a full attendance, and we approved the mission of the ad hoc. And that mission statement is in the on file. You can pull it up if you pull up the committee on the website to see what we came up with as we're going to try to accomplish. We also finished our contract with our consultant. She is on board and she is attending our meetings via telephone. And we're getting good attendance from the city staff, and just about all of the charter officers have attended one time or another. We sent you a policy framework manual, which describes how policy governance works and what we're doing. If you have any questions on that, would you please get them to the city clerk so we can coordinate an answer? I urge you to read the manual, because that's where we're going. So you really need to take a look at that. And I would appreciate those who are not on the committee. We're only looking at 3 or 4 policies a week. If you could take a look at those policies and give any input back to the city clerk so we can have some assurance that when we bring this whole thing forward, all of our work will not have been done in vain. We'll finish the policy on the city manager's responsibilities. These are things that we would task him with in addition to what he's being tasked with in the charter, in the city charter. We finished a policy on treatment of staff. I'd like to bring that policy forward as a standalone because we have some issues that the council needs to stay on top of with the staff and how they are being treated. We have some things that we need to just keep on the front burner. And the third policy that we finished is the succession policy. And we'll have a succession policy for each of the charter officers as well, so that we will know who's to take over in the case of unexpected emergency. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Schneer.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just a number of announcements. Colonial Heights Neighborhood Association is doing their monthly meeting this Thursday at Colonial Heights Library at 6:30. Friday night, as always, we'll have our Oak Park Peace Walk, and that's at 5 p.m. this month. We're starting at Shiloh Baptist Church on 9th Avenue. Sunday, the 28th, there's a South Oak Park Community Association meet and greet. That's at Jack Davis Park from 12 to 3. Monday, the 29th, we are hosting at the Oak Park Community Center Vision Zero and Bike Master Plan discussion from 5:30 to 7. On Monday night, the 29th, I'll be doing office hours, and this one is at Track 7 from 6 to 8, so hopefully that'll get a good crowd, and we'll be able to have a good discussion. And then next Wednesday night, the first North City Farms community meeting is happening. We're trying to get a neighborhood association started at North City Farms, and that's at Ethel Phillips Elementary from 6:30 to 8.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Ashby.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hanson. Couple things. First of all, I wanted to join you, Councilmember Hanson, in congratulating Lady Bird on her 5 Oscar nods today. So exciting. Only the 5th woman ever nominated for Best Director. and only one woman has won before. So that's exciting. And in 90 years, so 90 years, only 5 female nominees. And also in those 90 years, less than 15 movies have been nominated for Best Picture that were centered around a female lead, and she received that nod as well. So it's an exciting time, and of course Sacramento and Greta being from here is all great, but it's a wonderful message too and a wonderful backstory, so fingers crossed for her in the months to come. And then I want to thank my colleagues for joining me at the march this past weekend, and thank the people of the Sacramento region who showed up, some 36,000 strong. I was particularly proud of my colleagues. Pretty much everybody was there that could be there, that was in town and could be, and didn't have some other higher priority conflict. And I know in spirit would have been there anyway. And our regional partners and so many city staff. I mean, it was just really wonderful to see all the city staff out there, firefighters and police officers and parks and leadership and just everybody from every level in the city coming together. Made me very proud of our city, both our city family and our city at large. And you know, words can't quite describe what it feels like. It's both, you know, very gratifying to see people unifying around a message of empowering women and equity. It's also extraordinarily frustrating to see that we still need to do that and feel like that's where we're at in 2018. But I am ever so proud to be in the company of men who I know consider themselves to be allies of that movement. So thank you very much for that. And then lastly, I have an ask of the city manager. Howard, I would love it if you could work with your homeless services division, so Emily and whoever else you think is appropriate, to just look into this issue with St. John's Women's Shelter. As I think folks know, they didn't receive funding from the county, and there are a few moving pieces to this, some potential that they would have to start turning women out. They have a wait list of between 450 and 600 people right now anyway, and there might be an opportunity for us if we have some funding source left from the mayor's $5 million set aside or another homeless services capacity to serve between 200 and 320 women and children in a year. If we could maybe work out a deal with the county to be the stopgap for a year until they pick up refunding again. But at any rate, I'd love for you to tell us what our opportunities are and also what the potential threat is to a few hundred more women and children losing their placements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jennings.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Ashby, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for the role that you played in organizing the Women's March. And I know you played a vital role, and I just want to acknowledge you publicly in front of your peers. And I know that everything that you're doing to promote women and move them into positions of responsibility or equal pay or whatever the case may be are things that need to be done, and I'm very supportive of that as well. So I just wanted to stop and congratulate you on your role in doing that. A couple of local announcements. The hiring, Home Depot is having a hiring event, and that's going to take place Tuesday the 30th. That's next Tuesday the 30th from 8 to 4 p.m. It's my office along with Councilmember Carr's office, and we'll be sponsoring the Home Depot hiring event, which is going to take place at the Pinnell Community Center from 8 to 4, as I mentioned before. And if you have any questions about that, please contact either one of our offices, but please get the word out. This is an opportunity for Home Depot, who is doing hiring in the Sacramento area, and they're going to be hiring on the spot that day. And so, once again, that's from 8 to 4 next Tuesday, the 30th. And then also on Saturday, February the 3rd, we're going to have a Healthy Family Day at the Prairie Elementary School from 10 to 1 p.m. It's going to be a day of fun activities for the whole family. And District 7 has partnered with a lot of community-based local organizations to bring in nutrition, fitness demonstrations, free health screening, on-site clothing closets, free produce, legal assistance, and much, much more. If you have any questions about this, please contact my office at 916-808-7007. Once again, that's Saturday, February the 3rd from 10 to 1 p.m.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Emeritus. Mr. Guerra.
Great, thank you very much, Vice Mayor. I wanted to put a little save the dates out there. The Sacramento Tree Foundation will be doing a tree planting at Elder Creek Elementary this Saturday, January 27th at 9 a.m. So come join us and support our Elder Creek Elementary School over on Power Inn Road, and that'll be at 9 a.m. Also, save the date for Saturday, February 3rd at 8 a.m. We're having the annual Steps to College event over at the Consul General of Mexico's parking lot area. They basically convert that entire parking lot. They got a big tent out there, and they have every university and trade and community college out there, and also a lot of scholarship opportunities for anyone who comes by. There will also be bilingual services that day too, so save the date. That's February 3rd out there at the Consul General of Mexico's office. Also, last save the date here, we're coming up to the Lunar New Year, and there's a lot of activity during the Lunar New Year month. This 2018 Little Saigon Lunar Flower Festival and Tet Festival will begin on Saturday, February 10th and February 11th. We'll be having events that following weekend on the 17th and 18th. More to come, so put it on your calendar. And with that, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, for a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Just two quick things from me. I know everybody's eager to go. First, Ms. Ashby, Councilwoman, you just did a phenomenal job at the March on Saturday. I know many of us were there, but I thought you may have even upstaged the mayor, and he is known for his rhetorical flourish, and you did a phenomenal job. Just back to Lady Bird for a second. One of the things that not many people know, but John Dangberg does, is that I got a call from Greta Gerwig a little over a year ago asking to see what she could do with us to bring the production here. We called around, we worked with Visit Sacramento. She applied for California State Film Tax Credits. We got nothing. We did very little within the programs that we have. She still managed to convince the producer who wanted to film in Ohio or LA for Sacramento. She still managed to get him to come here for 8 days, I think it was. We have an enormous opportunity here, the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards, just the story, and then the movie coming up about our train heroes, to really think about what we should be doing. And Mr. City Manager, I don't know what the right answer is, because we looked at the Film Commission for the local level a couple years ago, but if we really do think that we could be competitive with filming, and it could continue to tell our Sacramento story authentically, you know, the roots and wings that Greta described, I think we'd be remiss not to take advantage of this moment. And I just don't know how you do it, but I think, you know, we have a little bit of time left on John's hours. We have some consultants percolating out there on a variety of things. We should really look at what we can be doing to bring those independent productions here. The big ones, they're not going to come here because we're not big box in that way, but we can be authentically Sacramento, and these indie productions would come here with a little bit of incentive and some streamlining. And I think it's a unique opportunity to make some lemonade here, because Greta certainly did us proud by bringing the production here. And I just, you know, we tried everything we could at the time. I know John and I both called the State Film Commission. We put letters in, we did all sorts of things, and it came to naught. So we need a little bit of control over our own destiny, and we couldn't have predicted then what this has turned into, but I think we can take advantage of the now and do something great. So, sorry, Mr.
Yes,
Carpenter's back up.
John just sent me the Sacramento Bee article that I may have been referring to. This is a different study, though. But it had predicted an 11.5 billion, with the B, billion-dollar economic bounty for restaurants, bars, hotels, and other businesses over the 35-year life cycle of the building.
You make Mr. City Attorney a little uncomfortable when you bring up Brown Act-related issues on council comments. The City Attorney may have been nervous about what was going to be said because of this not being a Brown Act listed issue, so just be careful.
Public comment.
Vice Mayor?
Thanks.
Just to be clear, though, for the record, and I don't want to fall down the Brown Act hole either, but I believe that's a Sacramento Bee article from 2013, and the committee that predicted that was a political action committee of then Mayor Johnson.
The one I heard was 7.5, what didn't come from the
All right.
political action.
Yeah.
committee.
Thank you for participating in tonight's council show. We'll be back again, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Adjourned.